Good morning, students. Students, we are doing the chapter heat, in which we discussed about heat, then measurement of temperature, different types of thermometers, structure, and their function. Now, as we know that heat is always transferred from one object to another if there is a difference in the temperature. Always it is transferred from higher temperature to lower temperature. There are some examples which indicates the transfer of heat, like when one end of a metal rod is put in a flame, its other end also becomes very hot. When a glass of hot water is left on a table, it becomes lukewarm after some time. When a metal chair is left out in the sun on a hot summer day, it becomes too hot to sit on. In all these cases, transfer of heat takes place with the hot object losing some of the heat and the cold object gaining the heat. We therefore say that where is the transfer of heat from the hot object to the cold object? In nature, there are three different methods of transfer of heat. They are known as conduction, convection, and radiation. Today we will discuss about one of the method of transfer of heat, that is conduction. Now students, we are going to discuss about conduction, and this is the most significant method of transfer of heat in solids. In this method, heat is transferred from one particles of the object to the next and then to the next and so on without the particles leaving their places. As you know that in solids, the particles are closely packed together and without actual movement of the particles passes their vibration from one to another. They vibrate about their mean positions and keep on passing heat energy to their next in line neighbors. That means heat energy is transferred from one particle to another, but there is no actual movement of particles. They do not leave their places. We can show it by a simple activity. To show the conduction in solids, we will take a metal rod. We will coat it with a thick layer of softened melted wax. We will fix some small pins on the wax at regular intervals, and we will allow the wax to solidify and hardens up. Then we will fix the rod in a stand and heat the rod at one of its two ends. After some times we will observe that the pins start falling down one by one from the side being heated up. This happens because of the transfer of heat through the metal and subsequent melting of the wax. This simple activity shows that there is a transfer of heat from one end of the metal rod to the next end by the method of conduction. Now we will see that whether heat energy is able to go along easily through all solids. We know that when we put one end of a metal rod in a flame, its other end also soon becomes too hot to touch. This shows that heat goes through quickly along a metal rod, so metals are good conductor of heat. On doing the same experiment with a wooden rod, we find that the one end of the wooden rod held by us does not become hot even after a long time, while the other end may well have burnt out by then. This shows that heat cannot easily go along a wooden stick. Wood is thus a bad conductor of heat. Bad conductors of heat are also known as insulators. All metals are good conductors of heat, with some of them better than the others. Wood, ebonite, cotton, plastic, cork, thermocol, air, and water all are bad or poor conductors of heat, that is, they are heat insulators. That means they do not allow heat to transfer through them. Now I am going to discuss some of the examples in our daily life, some of the examples of conduction in our daily life. The first one is that we use metals to make cooking utensils. Metals, being good conductors, quickly transfer the heat of the flame to the food items kept inside. The food items then get heated up and cooked. Metals are also used for making kettles, bottles, and boiler tubes for the same reasons. Because metals are good conductor of heat, they transfer heat to the food easily and food get cooked. The second one is use of bricks and mud for making houses helps to shield us from the heat of the sun during summer. These materials are bad conductors of heat and hence do not let the outside heat to reach easily inside the house. We can now also understand why rooms with thin roofs often becomes very hot during summer. That's why the houses are made up of bricks and muds, because these are the bad conductors of heat. They do not allow the heat of sun to enter into the houses. The ice boxes and the flask are often made as double walled containers. The layer of air trapped between the two walls does not easily let the outside heat reach the ice kept inside the box, and it also not easily let the inside heat to go outside. The ice therefore does not melt quickly in the ice box, and the hot or cold water which is kept in the flask also do not get heated up or loses the heat. There are so many examples where we use conduction in our daily life. One more is air is known to be a bad conductor of heat. Blankets, woolen clothes, and quilts help us to stay warm in winter. They all make use of the bad conductivity of air. They trap a layer of air between themselves and our body. Our body heat then does not easily escape out through this trapped air layer, and we stay warm. So there are so many examples, students, in which we use the conductivity, the conduction method of transfer of heat in our daily life. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we will discuss about the next method of transfer of heat, convection. So that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day.